Hello and welcome. I hope that everything is picture perfect. And so, you know what I am doing. It is a pleasure. I am Psychic Isaiah Isaac. It's been a while. I am celebrating, and I hope you all are having a wonderful day. I hope that you all are having a fantastic gathering for yourselves. I understand that there are changes, and I am a part of these changes as well. So I'm going through the same directions or pathways that many of you are. And I just want to say, you know what? I said so, told you so, and what goes for you goes for me too. So we are all going through these changes, these open doors that I've been discussing in my previous videos. I know that everyone has been anticipating, like, psychic, what is up with these charts? Why do you draw them out and then put 5 seconds of a stream video? What is up with that? So I'm here to talk a little bit about it. I don't know how in depth we're going to get into these charts. You know, these charts get a little winded, and I'm already chatty. So anyone who is entered the room, and if you've spoken, I want to say hi. If you're just listening on autopilot, um, I am a psychic and astrologer professional. I've got well, experience in the professional mainstream world of what it would be psychicisms and mysticisms. So I describe the difference. What is psychicism versus mysticism? That's in previous videos. If you caught that, it was me being humorous. I want to welcome a new deck. I've had this deck for a while. I've got many, and well, I had this deck in my safe, literally, and yeah, I like this deck. This will be the Periscope deck. I've got my work deck, the deck that I use, and I did not. I said, you guys can poke fun. I don't mind, but this is going to be the deck that I'm going to use for Periscope. They're a nice, clean deck. Okay, the first card is the Sun. Well, new beginnings. You might say the Sun. Well, I don't know what part of the world where you are, but we've got the snow as well. Yeah, all that good stuff. It's about that time, the solstice winter. That's good. So yeah, the sun can mean a lot of things, and preferably the sun and is also represent. When I was in I'm a clairvoyant, so when I see that door and it's November 23rd, and that's when I said, that door is gonna be closing in around that time to wrap up the year. But that door, it's actually a very open door, and anyone can go through that door. Even if you're going through that door, even as myself, even beyond the 23rd, I feel as though being a psychic, you read everyone else, and so many of us say, you can't read yourself, but you can read yourself, because what applies to others will apply to you. It's just that when going to about reading oneself, what tends to happen is we give ourselves the benefit of the doubt, or we will be too hard on ourselves, and so it gets a little difficult when we start to put our own emotional stuff onto the reading. But as long as we can, if you can take your readings with others as is, as much as you would want the recipient of your readings to take in and digest that information, especially if it's straightforward, especially if it's time sensitive things. If you can adapt to that as the psychic yourself, you'll be fine. And so that's what's going on with me. I've got so many wonderful, great opportunities and things before me. I'm so excited about it. And I know that you all are, because remember, as you know, normally these videos are specifically directed towards you all. So yes, I am very much aware of what you all have got going on. And what can I say? I told you so, in a good way this time. I want to give a nice warm welcome and a nice warm shout out because people have contacted me. I have received clients through bookings, and they found me on various places. YouTube, they found me on Periscope, and so they're letting me know, hey, we found you, and they're very much familiar with my work. So I love them for that. And I appreciate who you are. I everything is still the same. I'm more than independent now. So I'm still independent contractor, etc. as a psychic. But even more so now, I am the complete sole owner of my own psychic brand. So I am working on that, and we're going to just keep pressing forward. My names aren't going to change. I'm still a psychic Isaiah, and I put a little dash there, Isaac. And so, yes, I'm not gonna make you call me by a different name. No, I am still I'm still your psychic Isaac. And I also am very pleased with the feedback that I've gotten. They like this new format with working with me, and I like working with them in this new format. And we will continue to work together, and we're going to build. We're going to build, and we're not building from scratch. We're building for what we've already worked with. My clients, some of them I've worked with for a very long time, and they're right in like at the edge of their success, and we're going to make sure that they continue, and pave on, and we're going to make sure that they go ahead and fulfill all of life's ambitions, uh, driven goals, their actions, the beautiful benefits, and that is in the future for them, that's coming to them, and they know it. It's even more amazing having the ability to work with my clients through this particular channel. I'm able to connect with their more more strategic ideas, and give them information. So practical information, being I am a metaphysical practitioner as well. That's through the University of Metaphysics. We're able to not only get the psychic answers, but we're like, okay, look, we're gonna put this together. Like, they're telling me, okay, I want to put it together like this, and read over it for me, and as normal, read over it for them. That's the norm. That's pretty much the standard. Giving them the best accurate information, and then of course, if there's as a practitioner, any way, shape, form, thing that is necessary to help fulfill those visions, hey, we will look into it. We will do what we must, and we will see where it all comes together and fit together. I have different tiers, so people on the go, you can book 40. I think it's $40, 30 minutes. Then I have one for $60 for like 45 minutes, something like that. Then I also have one. My favorite one is the $15 for 15 minutes. So if you've never read with me before but would like to, oh yes, and also I do accept PayPal as well as any major credit card as well. So I'm gonna leave that up to you. So that's enough with that. So this is yes, my Periscope tarot deck. So I just wanted to introduce them, and the first card that came up, you know how I am. I've already shuffled these cards. First card came up is the Sun, New Beginnings. Now I've been receiving the Wheel of Fortune for a minute. I love the Wheel of Fortune. I'm just enthralled with them for now, and you can still see, I'm a Christian psychic, so you can see this is the traditional tarot, which is based on the four directions of the for the astrology, you could see them, and also you could see the Mark, Luke, etc. Mark, Luke, and John. So you could see them. I'm missing one. Um, Mark, Luke, Mark, the four gospels. These represent the four gospels. Mark, Luke, John, and I know I'm missing one. I know I'm missing one, but that's okay. So we'll get it. We'll figure it out, and then of course you can see the rise of it has some Kundalini elements as well, and of course moving up. So I absolutely I prefer the traditional tarot, and of course these are a little bit it has some more modern elements to it as well. Very very colorful deck. So I'm gonna set that here. And the Queen of Swords. I've been meditating on the Queen of Swords, and the Queen. Well, the court cards can represent a person, but can also represent a station in the world. So it can represent station in life too. Oh, John, Mark, Luke, Mark. We have Mark. Was Mark? Mark is supposed to be. He goes Mark, Luke. We know that's John. Mark, Luke, John. Okay, yeah, we're still missing one. We should really look that up. Let me put this in. Yeah, hold on. I like everything to be so accurate. Matthew. How could we forget Matthew? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And then, of course, in when it's in the Hebrew letters, which are here, it spells the Torah, which the Torah, like the first book of the Bible, and then here are the Hebrew letters, and this is standard for all tarot. And so these also represent the four angels that that overlook and God and his glory, or his wife. So it is the mother, father. They are all on four corners of the throne, and they can see and hear everything and kind of report back. And also, I bet they're even like security if that were needed. But yeah, so that's the explanation of the Wheel of Fortune. And that Wheel of Fortune by history also represents things that go up must come down. So if you feel like, and hey, and I'm including myself. So if we have felt like we were up on top of the world, and then we cycle back down to regroup, and then of course we come back up again. But I believe we're coming back up, but we're coming back up from something. And usually when there's the Kundalini being released, there is a most definite profound type of lesson information that you're going to get from that rise. And don't, because this is the time when we taught intuitively, don't fear it. Flow with it. It's the best for you, and you have to understand. And of course, emotionally, you'll have to understand. Well, why do I have to? And it's so unfair. And this person here, but maybe whatever you might deem an obstacle or an uncertainty, maybe was keeping you so distracted. You know the drill. You know the language. And yada yada yada. Keep you so we can't or won't proceed forward. We need to forge forward. And how can we if we're constantly distracted? So now we've got the distractions out of the way. We've got our Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We're ready. What more do we need? So this is a beautiful card called the Magician. And I love the Magician because, you know, it has a lot to do with Mercury. And like this would be considered Mercury element. Of course, money. The 2020 is a, okay, people are going into 2020. I know you've heard this. I know you like, look, do the chart stuff. That's why we're here for. I know, but I'm just I'm just connecting with my vibes. You know, I'm connecting with my guides. You know, I'm kept connecting with God. I'm connecting with my tarot card language. I just want to, you know, in my astrologies, I want to get really plugged in. So if you bear with me, I know you can also watch this on replay. So if you can only take me in quantity, you know, in small bits, it's okay. You can always go back and watch the replay. While I'm here, I might as well make it worthwhile, right? So the Magician we know it's about currency. You know, this is the card that usually go in. You know, people when this card goes in retrograde because it's a card from Mercury. You know, people are like on it. Oh, let me. Hey, what did you say? You said no judgment. Hold on. Okay, hold on. It says, did you say this was a Christian tarot deck? How does tarot cards align with Christian faith? Oh, a lot of people don't know that the tarot card language is actually tells a story of the Bible. Like, but people don't like when we say the devil, we're talking about the Christian devil. This is the first tarot, you know, because you know there's many now, but the first tarot deck, the original, it tells us because think about it. The tarot deck come from Christian. I want to say ancient, but you know, with the Dark Ages, 1500s, and it was a gift to the royal family who were also, you know, they would have been Christian, very Christian. And the artist that's why you have the the royal court cards, like the queen, the king, because they actually symbolize, they actually, the first deck were aligned with gold, and they had, you know, and the artist had drawn a card to represent every single royal title person, actual person, you know, the first deck as a gift. And then, of course, being that they're all Christian, they would have that's where they would have drawn their creativity from. So the tarot card is very Christian. It's just that, just like if you take the Bible, and you can twist it, this is very, of course, this is higher arcana, which means higher mystery. People take it, Christians alike, and also non-Christians alike. Hence, a non-believer in Christianity can still take the tarot cards and make it into what they want it to be. But traditionally, the intent and the purpose and the origin is purely Christian based. Not only that, the tarot cards also represent the Old Testament and the New Testament, like the queen, the moon, the high priestess. The high priestess is holding the Torah, which is the Old Testament, the Torah, the first five books of the Bible. And of course, this represents, you got Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And then if you can look here are, wait a minute, where are you? Oh, if you can look here very carefully, this is all of the tarot cards. Also, you'll see Hebrew letters. Your Hebrew letters, which is in Psalms 119, are all on here. That's why I don't listen to you all when you say, oh, I do this, I do that. I look through the Bible. There's no rebuking of a prophet. Like if a prophet and a pastor, what you consider to be a pastor or a priest, would get into a fist fight, a prophet would win. A prophet would win. Right now, I'm reading a very important a prophet that was in the Bible, and the prophet had the power to curse and bless, but a prophet would not do it if God said no. You better not. And it is a story that I'm reading in Joel about a prophet who did this. And I am going. I'm actually going. If okay, my first okay, I actually did a broadcast where I can spell out Jesus Christ's name. Yeah, we profess Jesus Christ's name. I can spell his name in tarot language because each of these cards, because there's 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, and there's 22 letters or 22 cards that represent the higher arcana. They correspond, and they talk about the it talks about like like the Lover's card, which is for the Gemini. That is the angel, and then you got the Adam and Eve. I mean, it's kind of common sense. What do you actually think that those images are talking about when they show you the death card and they show you the death and the Pope, and and etc. and the Pope card? What religion do you think that the tarot cards are referring to? And considering that the tarot comes from out of the Euro-centric countries in the time and era of the 1500s, what do you think that they mean? I'm gonna let that soak in. I'm not trying to get snippy, but I'm letting you know. I'm just letting you. This is just righteous anger. It's not right. I'm not being mean. I'm just I'm just saying. But yeah, oh yeah, there's a prophet that. So I mean, if a prophet really just wanted to, he could just. That prophet was never did go to church and hang out with you all. You know what I mean? They stay to themselves, and when a prophet says something is off, it's the prophet who comes in to do the organizing, because prophets are for three things, and that is to instruct. They're to teach, and they are to what they call sort of life coach, exhort. It's called exhortation. So is to teach, instruct. That means when you're out of order, and when your pastor is out of order, or your whomever is out of order, your apostle is out of order, a prophet isn't going to be like getting spooked because you guys are mad. A prophet is going to say, I'm going to say, and these days I have technology, I have internet, I have Twitter. I don't have to like go to your doorstep and knock on your door. I don't have to chase you throughout the parking lot. I don't have to do any of that, and the prophets in the Bible technically did not do that. The prophets were so powerful, so influential. You would, if you have any authority at all, you would get a hold of that prophet. Like if you were a king, you would be like having that prophet in the courts. And if that prophet was a real prophet, that prophet wouldn't lose his or her head, by the way, because there are women prophets too. They didn't lose their head if they were real. Well, we won't get into the 12 apostles, but I mean the prophets themselves. They were very much honored. And like if they said, no, I can't do this, like they were so influential, like they didn't get beef from, the kings would still get kind of aggressive. I'm reading one section where this king even like slaps the prophet. The prophet said still not going to do it, but was still able to go their own way. The king and the prophet went their own way, because this is when the particular prophet was asked, to do some damage, but it gets pretty dark. I can't really go into it because it kind of takes away from what I'm talking about. So there's more cues for me to give you that what this isn't what you think it is, but you can say it is. It's your right to say, well, it is. It's your right, but I'm reading throughout the Bible, and there's no point, or there's no place in the Bible where a prophet kowtowed to anybody. And so I'm just saying. And Daniel, the whole story about Daniel is about King Nebuchadnezzar placing Daniel over the school of mystery. And when he was put over that school, this wasn't a school of prophets. Daniel was the only one good enough to actually interpret the king's dream. He was the only one good enough to be called prophet of the Lord, or prophet of God. The rest were astrologers, seers, wizards, sorcerers, all these people who had at least the aptitude for these kinds of things, these mysteries. Well, Daniel was placed in charge over this school. Okay, so I'm getting a little bit far in there. I mean, and this is not to use the Bible to create a banter, to use as a weapon, even though that's what it's for. A shield. The word is your shield, is your helm, is your sword. But but all of this language comes through the tarot. That's why a lot of times if you're receiving a reading from me, you're not going to get what you want to hear. Now, my readings seem like a fairy tale because it's kind of like this. I'm a psychic, right? And if I know that you're going to step into a muddy puddle, I'm going to talk about like the path that you took that took you around the muddy puddle or took you in a different direction, like a psychic GPS. We're going to avoid stuff. And so sometimes they say, gosh, it just sounds so, and then they do it and they're like, it happened everything like the way you said it. But I think people